Queens are usually seen as very proper and regal, but some in history did things that were quite surprising. Instead of following all the normal rules, they did unusual and unexpected things. This exploration will look at some spoiled queens who had unique habits, or did things that were different from what people expected of royalty. Heart of Glass. Princess Alexandria of Bavaria believed something really unusual. She thought she had swallowed a grand piano made of glass when she was a child. Even though she wasn't officially a queen, she was still a princess. Despite being a smart and well-educated 23-year-old, she convinced people around her that her insides were made of glass. She was so scared that her inner piano would break like an inner demon. To avoid this, she would enter rooms slowly and sideways. This kind of belief wasn't common, and usually it affected royalty. They thought their bodies were made of glass, and they were afraid of breaking all the time. There's even a play called The Glass Piano by Alex Sabler that explores this unusual idea. It's quite recent and worth checking out if you're interested in such bizarre beliefs. Kleptomania. Queen Mary loved taking small, shiny things even though she was already very rich. It was like she couldn't resist collecting them. When she visited people, it turned into a game of hide and seek for their precious items. Imagine having the Queen over and suddenly something valuable disappeared. Sometimes she would just sigh dramatically, and that would be a sign for someone to give her a gift. But for things she really wanted, she had sneaky ways. She might offer less money than something was worth, or quickly put it in her pocket when no one was looking. And just like that, the valuable thing would be gone. People started hearing about Queen Mary's habit, so they hid their shiny things before she came. But she got smarter. She started showing up without warning, making it harder for them to hide their treasures. Her time as queen wasn't just about ruling, it was also about collecting every little shiny thing in the kingdom. Queen Maria Eleanor's disappointment. Throughout history, monarchs often placed immense importance on having a male heir. This pressure could lead to intense disappointment when a female child was born, as Queen Maria Eleanor's story sadly demonstrates. Queen Maria Eleanora desperately desired a son to inherit the throne. When she finally gave birth to a daughter, the news was kept from her, fearing her reaction. Unfortunately, upon learning the truth, Maria Eleanora expressed profound disappointment. While the specific words attributed to her may not be entirely accurate, it's clear her reaction was deeply negative. This disappointment had tragic consequences. The baby, named Christina, faced numerous accidents, a falling beam, a tumble downstairs, even a drop by the nurse. While the intent behind these incidents remains unclear, the outcome was undeniable. A young child placed in harm's way. Christina thankfully survived these incidents and grew into a healthy adult. However, her story serves as a cautionary tale about the harmful effects of excessive pressure and disappointment, particularly when directed towards vulnerable individuals. Bathing is a sin. Going back to the 15th century, Queen Isabella of Spain did something quite unusual. While it's common for queens to boast about their wealth or their man, Isabella bragged about only bathing twice in her life. This might seem odd, but there's an interesting historical reason. In 537 AD, Rome had 11 aqueducts supplying water to about 1,000 public fountains and over 900 bathhouses. Bathing was a big deal. However, when invading Goths cut off the aqueducts, the Catholic Church didn't know how to solve the problem. So instead, they declared that bathing was a sin practiced only by pagans. This led to a period in history where taking a bath could be seen as a sinful act. Imagine relaxing in a bath with a bath bomb only to be considered a sinner afterward. People were told that bathing was against religious principles, so if you dared to have a bath on a Monday afternoon, you'd be labelled a pagan monster. Even the Old Spice guy wouldn't have been able to change their minds. Ambition versus legacy. Discovering the dark lengths queens could go to for power, it's evident that challenging a woman's pursuit of authority is unwise. Julia Agrippina, a Roman empress, already enjoyed luxury as the emperor's wife, but her ambition knew no bounds. Believing her son had a rightful claim to the Roman throne, Julia manipulated her uncle Claudius into changing laws to allow their marriage. After Claudius's death, suspicions arose that Julia was involved. She and her son Nero ruled Rome from 49 to 54 AD. However, Nero, weary of her manipulation, removed Julia from power. Enraged, Julia's attempt to rally supporters against her son backfired, resulting in her expulsion. Julia's intense ambition proved to be a double-edged sword, leading to the loss of the power she coveted most. Time up. Now, if you're a queen and you eat quickly, everyone else better keep up. This tradition started with Queen Victoria. She loved feasting and didn't waste any time. Super fast eating. The rule in the royal family is that when the Queen finishes a course, everyone else has to stop too. So if Queen Victoria could finish a whole 7-course meal in just 30 minutes, which she apparently could, you'd still be on your soup, and she'd be telling everyone to wrap it up. Stressful, right? Also, when the Queen gave a toast, nobody else could talk, and once she put her cutlery down, no matter where you were in your meal, they take everyone's plates away at the same time. I just put my leftovers in my pockets, forget about it. It's like when you go to an all-you-can-eat sushi place and you have some sushi left over. You don't want to waste it, so you're like, I'm not paying that bill. Queen Elizabeth II. In the world of peculiar royal habits, Queen Elizabeth II is known for not liking the crust on her sandwiches, a tradition that has been around for about 150 years. This quirk goes back to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, who thought anything square-shaped brought bad luck because it looked like a coffin. The Queen's dislike for crust is not only a recent thing but has been around for a long time. According to the amusing side of royal life, Queen Elizabeth II has someone to wear her new shoes before she does. This special service makes sure her shoes are comfy, which is something many people can relate to when they're breaking in their own shoes. While the Queen's sandwich preferences might seem a bit odd, it adds a bit of fun to her royal routine. The age-old belief about square shapes has unintentionally influenced how her sandwiches are served, making the seemingly simple act of cutting off the bread crust an interesting part of royal tradition. Empress Wuzan. Empress Wu, driven by an unwavering determination to cling to power, resorted to extreme measures. To secure her position, she ordered the execution of rivals who posed a threat to her throne, including the previous empress and even members of her own family, including her newborn daughter. Not willing to risk losing power to anyone, not even her own offspring, Empress Wu spared no one. In her quest, she employed various gruesome methods to eliminate rivals. Eventually, Wu shifted her focus, retiring from her part-time job of orchestrating deaths to spend time with her lovers and indulging in aphrodisiacs. However, her past caught up with her, as those seeking revenge had all her lovers killed, leading to her exile. Greed met its match in karma, and Empress Wu faced the consequences of a ruthless pursuit of power. Empress Anna's Ice Palace. Get ready for a Frozen-esque tale featuring Empress Anna Ivanova of Russia from 1730 to 1740. After a victorious battle with the Ottoman Empire, Anna decided to commemorate the achievement by commissioning the construction of an ice palace, a colossal structure that would undoubtedly be a perfect spot to chill out. This icy fortress was truly remarkable, boasting dimensions of 20 meters by 50 meters. Inside, the enchantment continued with ice trees and sculpted icebergs. If I were there, I might even be tempted to lick the walls. Who wouldn't be? Anna, known for her unconventional choices, arranged a marriage between a prince and one of her maids. Despite being strangers, they were compelled to ride an elephant, all while guests adorned clown costumes. Now, you might wonder about the practicality of an ice palace in Russia, and yes, it was a frosty nightmare. Anna forced the guests to party all night in freezing temperatures, resulting in widespread illness. The entire affair, complete with clown costumes, might make you reconsider your ice hotel aspirations. Having been to one in Quebec, I can assure you it's cold and somewhat dull, a fact that could save you some serious money. You're welcome. Fashion rebel. Empress Elizabeth was quite a unique character. Being a monarch, she did whatever she pleased, and one of her passions was men's fashion. Believing she had legs like Naomi Campbell, she wanted to flaunt them to the world. However, at that time, pants were only for men. Since she always wore dresses, her legs remained hidden. To solve this, Elizabeth threw large parties where everyone had to cross-dress, providing her with an excuse to wear pants. Although she could have worn them on a regular day, she didn't want to be the only woman in men's clothing, so she made everyone else join in. Unfortunately, these parties weren't enjoyable for the guests. Women found the men's clothing unflattering, and the men struggled to navigate hoop skirts. The only person truly enjoying herself was Empress Elizabeth, and perhaps that was the whole point. Check on the dead. Funerals, especially royal ones, can be costly and physically demanding, especially in the past. Joanna of Castile, born in 1479, had an arranged marriage to the Duke of Austria, and she deeply loved him. When he succumbed to typhoid fever in 1506, Joanna couldn't cope with his death. She repeatedly had his tomb unearthed and opened just to make sure he was still there. Despite sympathizing with the Queen's grief, the continuous opening and closing of the tomb, along with the body being carried everywhere she went, was an immense and laborious task. The Queen even kept his body under her bed at times. The emotional toll and the extensive efforts involved in handling her husband's remains are quite haunting. Queen Christina of Sweden. Queen Christina of Sweden, born in 1626, was a unique and rebellious queen. Becoming queen at 6, she valued knowledge over traditional luxuries. Instead of typical queenly pursuits, she delved into languages, philosophy and science, creating an intellectual haven in Stockholm. However, her unconventional ways clashed with the nobility. Lavish art patronage and interest in Catholicism caused controversies. At 28, she surprised Europe by abdicating, choosing freedom over the throne. Christina's journey across Europe was adventurous. Embracing Catholicism, she settled in Rome, becoming a patron of the arts and playing a role in politics. Her life defied easy understanding. A queen who embraced learning, danced to her rhythm, and challenged the norms. Christina's story reminds us that true power lies in forging your own path, no matter how unconventional. Queen Victoria's love. Queen Victoria's deep love for Prince Albert didn't end with his death. It turned into an unusual mourning that fascinates people. They had a loving and intellectual marriage, but Albert's sudden death in 1861 left Victoria in more than just regular sadness. Victoria always wore black, showing her constant sadness. Albert's rooms in their homes stayed the same, like shrines. His things were replaced every day, like a strange way of pretending he was still there. His bed stayed untouched, and Victoria slept in a special one next to it, as if wanting to feel his warmth. This mourning wasn't just a show, it was genuine. People think it came from her lonely childhood and losing her mother early, making it hard for her to handle such a big loss. Others see it as her passionate personality and how much she relied on Albert for support. People didn't all see it the same way. Some felt sorry for the Queen's huge sadness, but others thought she was acting too much, almost in a creepy way. Critics said it made her bad at doing her royal duties, like she was too obsessed. Queen Hatshepsut. In ancient Egypt, Queen Hatshepsut defied norms to become a remarkable pharaoh between 1479 and 1458 BC. Born into privilege, she strategically claimed the pharaonic title traditionally reserved for men. Instead of stepping back after marrying her half-brother, she declared herself pharaoh, navigating a male-dominated society through symbolic power plays. Hatshepsut adopted pharaonic attire, including a ceremonial beard, asserting her authority. While the beard symbolized divinity or powerful female deities, she retained subtle feminine features and jewelry, showcasing a unique blend of strength and femininity. As a skilled ruler, she prioritized trade, diplomacy, and grand construction projects like the iconic mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri, leaving an enduring legacy. Cleopatra. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, was more than just a beautiful woman. She was smart and knew many languages. She famously seduced both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony to further her own ambitions. This helped her stay in power and challenge the powerful Romans. However, things didn't go well when she had a problem with a man named Octavian. Scared of what might happen, Cleopatra decided to end her own life. Even though her kingdom fell, Cleopatra's story became famous. People have told her tale in plays and movies, showing her as a strong leader and someone who loved deeply. Whether all the stories are true or not, Cleopatra's intelligence, ambition, and sad ending still capture our attention, reminding us of the fascinating people who dared to go against what was expected. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to hit the like button, share with others who might find it fascinating, and subscribe for more intriguing historical narratives.